Welcome, everyone, to the Insurance Perspectives podcast. I'm excited today to be joined by Torey Maerz.
Maerz. Got it.
Maerz.
Yeah.
You know what would be good if I would have asked that before we started doing this.
Good. I've heard it all, man. Yeah.
Torey is the co-founder and CEO at ClientCircle. Torey, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here. Looking forward to getting to know more about ClientCircle today.
Yeah, man. Thanks so much for having me. And as you were kind of going through the introduction, I had so many kind of like memories and emotions going through my head. I remember when we, started this company, I was happy when people would get on and say, hey, we have a newcomer to the insurance industry and we want to talk about some of the new things. And now it's great to be back to say, hey, we've made big strides. And so let's talk about, now I feel like we're one of the veterans in the insurance industry or in the tech world, not like the HawkSoft level, veterans, but I'm really excited to kind of be back and talk more about what we're doing. We've been innovating for, all of these years that we've been around, and super excited to chat.
Yeah, me too. And yeah, we're definitely going to get into that. It's going to be a good conversation. Let me give our listeners a little background for those that don't know about ClientCircle. Torey is the CEO and founder of ClientCircle and started the business in 2013 with his brother, Carl. ClientCircle is a leading insurance marketing automation platform that helps insurance agents manage the complete customer journey. Torey last appeared on the podcast in January 2024. Lastly, ClientCircle has a reputation of having the best shirts in the business. I can attest to that. They have the very best t-shirts in the business. So if you happen to see ClientCircle at a conference, stop by their booth and ask for one.
Yeah, we have some shirts that are, we kind of only have certain cycles, like the one that you have on, the made for insurance. We're not really making them anymore. So that's the thing is, if you're lucky to get one, it kind of becomes a thing like, oh, well, I knew ClientCircle when they had the made for insurance shirts.
Vintage.
It's vintage. That's right.
Torey, for those unfamiliar with ClientCircle, if you could please give us a 60-second, you can take more than 60 seconds. Give me a summary of what you guys do.
Really what we want to do is to be the sort of perfect addition or add-on to the management system. Like you said, really manage that full customer journey, right? I like to say we help you sell more, get your customers to stay longer, and refer your friends. And we do everything in between to be able to do that. I think that recently what we've found is one of our most important things is that we're pretty much a full service company. So when you call us up and you want to run marketing campaigns, or you want to help improve your retention, or you want to do cross-sell campaigns, or, figure out how to get that, lead warm automation set up, right, to be able to convert more leads. Not only do we have the tech to do it, but we also have the people here that can help consult with you and make that happen. So you can, as an agency, if you want to just hands off and say, guys, like, go for it, let it go. Like, we know our tool better than anybody else. So you tell us what you kind of want to do and we can make it happen. So that's what we're learning is probably one of our greatest advantages is that we can kind of listen to you and what your business objectives are. And then we have the tech in place to be able to help you achieve those things.
As I mentioned, you were last on the podcast in 2024. Talk about what new features you've added since you've last been on the podcast.
One of the coolest things, actually, I have to call this out. We just added on the HawkSoft Client Create. So, when we talk about full, journey, that means that we can do collect leads from forms or wherever else you might be getting the lead details. We'll go into ClientCircle. We can run those campaigns and they'll automatically show up in HawkSoft. And then when the downloads happen and things merge, you kind of just reduce entry, right? So that's one of the cool things I want to highlight. But major things that we have added in the ClientCircle platform is over time we've learned that an agency is not one size fits all. The
No.
way that you differentiate is through better service or maybe process procedures and things like that. And so we've built a really neat customizable user interface inside of ClientCircle so that while you're in the system using it, you can say, hey, I want my workflow to do this thing. And you can change your workflow to work differently. Or if you want to change the fields that you see on different screens, you can do that. If you want to relabel fields, you can do that. There's so many things that we can do inside of our system to create sort of a bespoke system for every agency that comes
Mm.
across our door. That really you can make ClientCircle now work the way that you need it to for your agency. So it's probably the most customizable system that I've ever had to
Mm.
have an opportunity to work with. So I'm excited about that.
One of the things that I was, while I was looking around on your site, one of the features you have is your engagement campaign. And what was interesting to me was just the, kind of multifaceted approach. I mean, you can attack a prospect, a client from all different angles.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah,
The engagement piece?
100%. I
Yeah.
think one of the neat things about our system is that it's what we would call omni-channel, meaning it works through text message, through email, through handwritten cards, through letters, through postcards. We even have integrations with Google Maps chat. You know how sometimes when you're in Google Maps and there's a
Yep.
little chat button that says
Yep.
"Talk with this business," we can do that. The reason that that's important is because you kind of want to meet customers where they are. You want to communicate with them in the way that works best for them. You got to have a platform that can communicate across all those different channels and intermix things. So if you think, for example, you're going to run a campaign and it's going to be one postcard and that's going to change the world and you're
Yeah.
going to get a million leads from it, you're wrong, right? Like you got to mix that postcard in with letters and
Yeah.
cards and text messages and all of the things because it's not one piece of communication that makes
No.
a difference. It's all of the things together, coordinated that actually help you grow. Yeah, our Engage platform is very unique in the way that we do allow you to communicate across all of those different things in one view too. So you can build a campaign, say, send a text, send a card, and an email, and all of the things too.
Something that stuck out to me was the letter,
Yeah,
and something that is probably, maybe I'll just speak for myself, underutilized,
yeah,
because a nicely crafted letter for something
yeah,
works and
yeah,
still catches attention, especially if
yep,
there's some familiarity of it and,
right,
oh, what is,
yep,
Brad sending me here?
right.
Um, that was unique, I think.
Yeah, we found that postcards and things of that nature work better for prospecting and leads and notifications, and letters work really well for cross sell and notifications to existing customers and things like that. Because, like you said, they're familiar with your brand and your logo and things like that. So when they see that in the mail, the letter will show you your company logo and who it's coming from and things like that, and it just gets attention. It gets opened. That and the handwritten cards, obviously get opened more than any other thing, even more than email, obviously. So those are really good ways to run those different types of campaigns. And so, kind of going back to the full service, aspect of things, my team is really, in tune to which type of communication works better given the customer's relationship and sort of time along the customer life cycle to make sure that we're setting you up with the right thing to get the most bang for your buck, you can say.
Yeah. Something else that caught my eye that was very intriguing me and very helpful, on the agent side of things, is the analytics
Mm-hmm.
piece. That, to me, that platform of having that dashboard
Yeah,
seemed pretty unique and
yeah,
helpful, and almost instant information on what is there. Just
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
with the current CM that I use, I can access information, but I have to find it.
Thanks for bringing that up. Actually, that's something that we invested a lot of time into. Uh, Probably last year actually, and I think that's when we released the analytics tool. And what we did is we put all of the historical data into a really massive data warehouse so that we can go back and look over time how things change. And then as an agency, you can say, oh, wow, this is really interesting. At this point in time, I saw a drop in retention, or maybe I improved retention. Hopefully it's the improve, right? And then you can, and this goes back to even before you were a ClientCircle client, right? So like we collect, data and can extrapolate data from the management system up prior to being a customer, and then you can click a little dot and you can say what happened here. So then once you see that sort of piece in the analytics, then you can kind of drill down into it and expand to kind of see what exactly was it that happened, to figure out, okay, did I do something right? What did I do wrong? And those are kind of helpful things to help you dig in to say, if you're ready to improve your agency, let's see what it was that we did that made that vector change happen.
I think it's really cool. And like I said, it just gives you information you want to know on return on investment, and is this working, and where it's that was really slick looking platform. I told you that I wasn't going to throw you any curveballs, and I decided to, well, we will just call it change up.
Yeah, that's
What's
good.
interesting to me, so you started your business in 2013, and which is, man, that's a long time ago. I
Yeah.
mean, so talk
See
about
all this
the
gray here? It's coming out. I shaved to hopefully reduce it a little bit, but yeah.
talk about the process has been like, because I just think, especially uh, in the tech space, just about every business, if they don't adapt, they're not going to last.
Yeah,
None truer probably than the tech space.
sure.
So talk about what the process has been like over time to say we have to evolve, and
Hmm.
what that looks like to continue to look forward on on what our offerings can be to our clients.
Well, something that really helped us out a lot is when we entered the market, we were very far ahead of where other people were already, right? So we talk about AI today. In 2013, we built the company on an AI model that helped us determine who is most likely to recommend. At the time, right? Like this AI model is not something that we said, hey, we have AI on our platform, and the reason we didn't is because people didn't know what it was, and they would be scared, right? They would say, "What do you mean you're having a computer tell me who's likely to recommend, and you're going to
Mm.
target them with communication?" And now it's as if we're not using AI, then you're concerned, right?
Yeah.
So when we entered the market, we're very far ahead, and now what that means is we can just continue to kind of inch ahead. We're always a few steps, I think, forward, um, and trying not to be too flashy. And another advantage that we had is that we built the company on fundamentals, on things that, as an agency, there's some basic things that you need to do to be successful that are timeless. When you have a new customer, you got to make them feel welcome, right? When you have a long time loyal customer, you need to make sure that they feel recognized. Otherwise, they're not going to recommend. When you have somebody who does recommend, you need to thank them. And so we built the company based on human interactions and things that are timeless. Those feelings and things are never going to go away. And so we didn't build the company on fancy technology or anything like that. We built it on solving real business problems. And I think that was, we didn't know it at the time, right? But that was the key that helped us continue to be relevant, I guess, because we're not just selling tech, right? We're helping you grow your business, and we're doing it through fundamental, solid business practices that we can help you implement. And we use tech to do that. And over time, we've made our tech work more efficient and better and more quick. to help reduce costs and things like that as well. So over the past 13 years, we're trying to keep up with inflation and things like that. How can we offer more for less, right? So that we're not, you know, um, overpriced and things. So there's a lot of things that we spend our time and energy on to make sure that we are still relevant, but solving business problems is kind of the key.
There's so many tech platforms that are, that are trying to survive in this space. What would you say makes Client Circle unique, and why should insurance agents partner with Client Circle?
I guess it's tough to say what makes us unique because I don't really know all of the other players that much. But maybe that is unique. The unique part of us is that we're focused on how we can help an agency, and we want to get to know our agency customers very well and what makes their agency unique so that we can help them grow. I think you would really love if you're an agency to come on board. You'd really love the onboarding process because you're going to see how much we care about your agency. And again, we're listening to what your business problems are and then recommending, systems in place that help you get those things done. It's a struggle for me to sit here and talk about cool technology when really what I want to do is talk with the agency about how can we help your business. Tell me what you're
Yeah.
struggling with to see if we can come up with some solutions. That's what we want to do. And that's again like why our platform is so customizable that I was talking about, because if it used to be where you could come to us and say, hey, I want to do this thing. And we'd say, well, we need to do an enhancement request or we need to write some code to make that thing happen. And now we've written our platform in a way that it's a platform that we can just do some configuration and say, yeah, let's make this thing work that way. We're really trying to get into a world where we can customize the app very much for every agency. Maybe that's the unique thing that
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it's not a one size fits all anymore, you know?
Well, I think what you just, kind of, we're speaking to was just the approach of, if you're coming in and saying, okay, well, let's learn about your business and let's plug in what we can to help your business, and
Yeah,
not just give you this program and
right,
say, here's your sales pipeline.
right.
Not that anybody necessarily does that, but
Yeah.
it's a different approach of getting to know your client. You touched on AI a little bit. How else is Client Circle utilizing AI to
Yeah.
benefit the platform?
We use it internally a lot. We use AI to help us look at massive data sets more easily to make better decisions and things like that. It is obviously finding its way into our product in the right way. I think that the whole generative AI world is crazy. It's great. It's fantastic. I'm a huge believer and adopter in this thing.
Yeah.
Um, but I think I don't want to just have an AI button that you click inside the app and then ask a few questions. It all comes down to me about solving business problems.
Yeah.
So again, our approach is how can we use AI to make decisions effectively, accurately, consistently. Um, those things, if you know AI, you know that it's not always accurate, it's not always
No.
consistent, right? So that's the thing that we're trying to do. In this world, you sometimes can't afford to make a mistake. And all of the times you look at an AI tool right now, what's the disclaimer at the bottom? AI can make mistakes,
Yeah.
right? It's always there. So we're trying to put safeguards in and make sure that this is done right. So all of our existing AI tools have been through that over the last 13 years. All of the things that we've done, our referral algorithm, our NPS classification, things like that, all of those things are kind of through that. I know that we're accurate on those things, so we've been doing it for 10 years. But when you offload that to other massive generative AI models, right, you have to have different checks and balances in place, things like that we are building. And by this time, I would encourage you to go, check out our website and see what we have for you.
I think from a general public standpoint, or even a general agent standpoint. I know that HawkSoft themselves is faced a lot of pressure under this of, well, you're not, you're not utilizing AI. And I think if you ask the typical agent, well, how do you want them to use it? Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, do we want to use it? Do we want to say we have AI just to use it, or because to say that we have it, or do we
Yeah.
want it to provide a solution?
To me, this is a tool that you have to use. This is a tool. This is not an answer to every problem, and you have to learn how to effectively use the tool, cost effectively as well. Some of these big models are relatively expensive. I think that we could probably spend hours and hours
Yeah.
talking about this, but what has happened is when these big models were introduced, they were introduced as free, right? Like you could go out and try them. They're really trying to get a bunch of people on it. But now, when it comes to actually implementing it into true business processes and things like that, you realize there's a big expense to this. And so, are we ready, as business users of this tool to kind of pay the bill to be able to use those? And if you're
Yeah.
paying for something, you want to make sure that it's done right too. You don't want to just dump a bunch of credits into AI and then get a result that's like, oh my God, that's AI slop. What did I just
Yeah.
pay for? You know what I mean?
Yeah. What are your customers asking for of ClientCircle?
Going back to sort of the hands off approach, I think that's what we're realizing is that um, our agency customers don't have a ton of time. Like they're super busy. I think that you can relate to this. Like people, there's just, you got to get more done with less time these
Yep.
days to remain profitable.
Yep.
And so this is a really good, use of AI. We can use AI tools internally to help service more people more effectively. If we can build models that, given certain input, we get some kind of customized output that help us help you more effectively. That means that you can come to us and we can help give you more answers, more setup more quickly, and things like that. So, kind of short answers, I think agencies are just asking of us, can you do this for me, please?
Yeah.
And we're like, yes, absolutely. So, if that means that we know a campaign that works really well, but we need to customize it for an agency based upon their brand, and we can use some of our built in skills and things that we've built in AI to be able to do that for you, then that's what we're going to do. And then you don't have to worry about it, right? Like, it's just done. You're on a sort of approval uh, basis, and you can just check a few boxes. But yeah, looks good. Let it run.
What are the most utilized features by agents, would you say?
In our platform, by far, number one most used feature is our NPS tool.
Yeah.
Being able to kind of monitor the pulse of your customers is, again, a core business thing. You got to know how well you are doing in the eyes of your customer, because that's going to tell you, um, are you able to grow or not? Are you able to, if you can't grow from your current customers, if your current customers aren't willing to buy more from you, then you're going to struggle selling new business, right? So I think the first
Mm.
thing is always to solve, retention and cross sell type of things. And you can do that through NPS and understanding from people why do they like you? And if they don't like you, why don't they like you?
Yeah.
And from there solving those problems. So NPS is always the core number one thing. So that's definitely the most used feature because it's the most important.
Yeah.
And if you're not using NPS on our platform, then you're missing out on like 80% of what you can do because you can use NPS to drive other targeted campaigns. So for example, if you have someone, if you're going to run a cross sell campaign, you think it's a good idea to send a cross sell campaign to someone who just recently said, hey, I'm really upset about this other
Yeah.
thing? Bad idea, right? So with NPS, you can solve that very quickly. So we think NPS is super important. One of the most used, most important features.
For those that don't know, NPS is Net Promoter Score. Talk about how that is gathered. If it,
Yeah.
does it look at phone calls? Does it look at email notes? How is that developed?
NPS right now works through email and text message. So
Mm.
If you are emailing with a customer and they're not responding, the system automatically flips over to text, and we'll send them a text and just say, "Hey, want to know how we're doing? Basically, can you give us a ranking from 0 to 10?" If people rank you high, then they automatically go into other campaigns like Google reviews and other things like that. If they rank you low, then we notify the agency. We at that point recommend that you kind of reach out, give them a phone call. The interesting thing about these low scores is that a lot of customers don't expect you to give them a call. Sometimes people expect these surveys to go into an abyss and not actually get a response. And that's because that's honestly the sad truth. That's the common thing to happen in the industry is if I rate someone low, the company feels nervous about giving them a call, and so they just don't. But if you actually give them a call, whether or not you solve this situation or not, it shows the customer that you care. That's already doing more than most other businesses are doing for them, and it can improve the score. So we've seen just giving people a call that are detractors can improve the score, that then directly relates to more referrals, higher retention, more cross sells.
100%. Does that make sense? And think about it. If you're just able to hear someone out, that's going to mean a lot, especially
Yeah,
right after something like that. Just to say, hey,
yeah,
did we screw up?
yeah,
How, what, was kind of curious what happened here. I'd like to hear about
yeah.
it.
And by the way, that is something there's very few points in time in the customer lifecycle or the customer journey that human interaction and touch points gain you a ton of points and are really important. While the industry is trying to put AI in front of more customer interactions to save time and energy and money, there's always going to be key points where human interaction is going to gain you points and are really important. Detractor surveys are one of them. Obviously, loyal customers are another one of them. And there's several throughout the customer journey and lifecycle. But these NPS surveys are essentially customers opting into saying, "Hey, I want human connection at this point.
Yeah.
This is a time where I expect a phone call." And you can really win a lot. Don't put an AI bot in front of a detractor. That would be the worst decision, right?
Yeah.
So
Right. I'm sorry. What was, I cut you off there. What was probably the second most used feature on your
second
platform?
most used feature of our platform is obviously our marketing automation, right?
Okay.
So I would say NPS and then using our marketing automation tool to make sure to get the most from those people. So once I have NPS data about people, I can say, okay, for my promoters that only have one type of policy and are within a certain area or however you want to slice and dice it, I want to sell this other policy. Put them on a 6 month, 9 month, 12-month campaign full of emails and letters and cards to be able to get them to get quotes on other types of products. So, 12 or 13 touch points is not outside the question. We really want to get a lot of touch points for people to make sure that they're paying attention, and eventually one of those is going to land, and
Yeah.
hopefully you'll be able to get quotes for other things. So that's
Yeah.
second most used feature. Now, the interesting thing is while NPS is sort of the core, it's like a data collection thing, right? Your marketing automation is your true tool that's going to help your business grow.
Last question. What's next for ClientCircle? What if you can
Yeah.
tell us what's on the horizon?
We've got a lot of things coming that obviously more AI tools that help you understand your book. We want to be able to allow you to interact with ClientCircle through your AI tools. So we're going to have, hopefully by the time this launches, you'll even see some of those things. So we think that AI is here to stay. Like, this is not a fad. This is not something that's going away. This is changing the world.
Yeah.
And we just want to do it right. So we
Yeah.
definitely have a lot more things on the horizon for AI, and also just more well-rounded tool set. I think that in the beginning, ClientCircle was your NPS tool, was your referral system, right? And now we really want to be. I think that you're going to need a management system, and you're going to have ClientCircle. That's really what we're kind of shooting for here, and that means we have a few more features that we need to build. There's more integrations and things that we have coming, but again, we really drive a lot of it through customer demands. So we listen to customers more than anything else. We have a lot of customers that we call on a regular basis and say, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Tell me where you want to grow. And that's what we're doing. So we're kind of listening and building. That way we're not building things that people don't need, right?
Yeah,
We're
that's
building
right.
things that people are going to use.
Yeah, I think this is that's a great place to kind of end this episode. Torey, I want to thank you for your time sharing so much.